Welcome to Comically Comics, your one-stop listen to all things comics. We're talking books, movies, TV shows, video games, and more. I must forewarn you, though, we are a spoilercast, and what that means is we consider all properties, past, future, and present, to be valid, and we will spoil the hell out of them. I'm your host, Michael, along with my two co-hosts, Richard and Jeremy, and with all that being said, let's get started. All right, it is Sunday, October 29th, so this is like the eve before the eve of Halloween. Is that right? Did I get that right?
The Halloween Adam. Yes.
The Halloween Adam. We are going to catch back up with Loki, episodes 3 and 4. But before that, I want to acknowledge one Richard Mole, if I pronounced that correctly. He was most notably known for his portrayal of Bull Shannon in the TV series Night Court. However, a lot of other people will know him as Harvey Dent, or Two-Face, from the Batman the Animated Series. He also played or did the voice for Two-Face in some other Batman animated roles, as well as doing the Scorpion in a Spider-Man series too. He did a lot of other voice acting as well. He passed away on October 26th. So everyone, please, say prayers for his family. And yeah, just thank you, sir, if you're able to hear this, and thank you to your family for supporting you and giving us those roles and those voiceovers and just it giving us joy in our life.
Yeah. So sad to see. So many, like you said this in a text message, but so much from our childhood, like the voice actors and stuff are just dying out, which I mean, we're getting old. So that's par for the course.
Oh no, you said the O word.
Oh, we are.
Not the fun O word.
Yeah. Yeah. It sucks. I hate to hear that.
Well, and then last night I saw where Matthew Perry drowned, and I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah, that is.
Why are more people are drowning too? I've noticed that.
Yeah, it's such a tragedy. He's 54. That's
young.
Very young.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Michael's only got a couple years for that. So,
you son of a bitch.
Damn.
Shots fired. Where's that pew pew noise at now?
Damn it, hang on.
That's great. All right. Let's get back on track with Loki Season 2, Episode 3, entitled 1893. So, yeah, Whelming's on this, guys. Whelming's on this. What is y'all's thoughts on this episode?
I will say that I'm still hanging on Pleasantly Whelmed. It's still just a really good show. Victor Timely kind of got on my nerves a little bit here or there, but overall, I mean, at the same time, he was a very hard one to read as far as being either welcoming or not. Like it was good to. It was a nice play on how he acts as far as, because I mean, you already are a little weary of him because of He Who Remains. And so you kind of keep him at an arm's length, but at the same time, you also want to be friends with him or be nice to him because he seems like he could use it, kind of thing. So yeah, but as far as overall this episode, still definitely pleasantly whelmed and enjoying it.
I was going to say, he comes off very timid.
Yeah.
So, Richard, what is your whelming on this?
I'm on the pleasantly. I'm still on pleasantly whelmed, but I'm on that whelmed for this episode. This episode just further sort of muddies up everything with the He Who Remains and Kang and all that, and it's starting to get very frustrating. Plus, to me, Jonathan Majors acting in this episode to me was just bad. It was very over the top. I like his Kang in Quantum Mania, his Immortus not so much. The Victor Timely stuff to me is abysmal. And he's better in the next episode. I'll say that. We'll get to that. But he my wife and I were like, he's like Clayface from the Harley Quinn show. He's an actor. And he was taking that way too far to me in this episode. But other than that, yeah, I'm still pleasantly whelmed.
When talking about, since we're talking about this, just real quick, when talking about Jonathan Majors and his acting, his portrayal and stuff like that of these variants of Kang, do y'all think that they should be closer together as far as their portrayals than what it seems like Jonathan Majors is doing, so that, we kind of get that they're just variants of the same person? Or do you think it's better that they are so separate and far apart?
So I will say, like, I do think that they need to be separate, just because there are variants out there that make one different decision, and you could be a murderer or a good person, kind of thing. So it's very there can be very small decisions or changes that could happen to just completely skew which way you go and end up. But at the same time, like I was saying in this, there were still moments where like you could see that he was still kind of that trickster type mindset. I mean, because he's all these like quote unquote prototypes everywhere, and like
con
trying
artist.
to get there. Yeah, there you go, con artist. So I feel like there was still that that mindset of getting ahead, or knowing more than what he's leading on, kind of thing.
Yeah. I think they do need to be different. I just don't like. I'm fine with the stutter that he gives Victor Timely. I just didn't like his like cadence of speech, and like especially when he's doing the clicking of his fingers and doing the little tap dance with his feet when he's showing off the loom and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop that!
Oh,
What are you
yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
And of course, like I said, the Immortus, the whisper talking. I like. What did that king have? Like laryngitis that day? Like what? It makes no sense. Anyway, like his Ramatut and whatever Silver Centurion or whatever they're calling him, were fine. But yeah, anyway.
Okay. As far as I have more to add to it, I need to go ahead and get my whelming out.
Yeah, okay.
So before I forget, my whelming of this particular episode was pleasantly whelmed. I feel like it's just continuing on with the story. We're actually getting more stuff, more things that we've seen in the trailer, but we're getting to the end of all the trailer bits, which is exciting to me because it's like, now I don't know what's, there's 2 episodes left over after episode 4, and it's like, no idea. You know what I mean? Like no clue of what's coming after that. This one, it felt a little bit more drug out, the episode did. But all in all, like I said, it still moved the story along. Sylvie got brought back into it more, and I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed it. Again, another pleasantly whelmed for me. So, quick synopsis of this episode. I thought this episode was entitled 1893. I felt like this episode needed to be called The Race for Victor Timely, is what I felt like. But I didn't write it, so whatever. We see the origin of Victor Timely. Loki and Mobius are on the hunt for Miss Minutes. Ravonna and Miss Minutes fight Loki and Morbius for Victor Timely. Miss Minutes shows her true colors. So as far as like we're talking about Victor Timely and his different portrayals of the variants of Kang, I'm hoping that doesn't turn in. We spoke a lot about Kang coming across as like a thespian, an actor, and things like that. I'm hoping that's not what they turn Kang into. Like, I'm hoping he's not just a complete fraud across all multiverses.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, by setting this up and being so hard on with the Victor Timely, I'm like, don't do that for the rest, though. Like, if you want to do it for this one, okay, but don't do that for the rest. And I guess I could see the makings of that, though, if they wanted to do it that way.
Well, the thing that confuses the absolute hell, I mean, like, so I'm assuming, so we'll just get it, like, I'm assuming Victor Timely is a contingency plan for He Who Remains, because what I assumed was that Victor Timely is He Who Remains. It's like, did you ever watch Doctor Who with River Song?
Yes.
That era of Matt Smith?
Yeah.
I thought maybe Victor Timely is He Who Remains, and we're seeing the start of like the birth of He Who Remains when they drop that notebook off. But by the end of that episode, it's not so much that. And I was like, so what? I'm so like, it must just be a contingency plan. So he has a replacement for He Who Remains or something. I have no earthly idea. That's the part that's just so muddying the water now as far as how this all works.
Well, and he even said in the last episode of season 1 before he died, he didn't know what was happening. after
Yeah,
they
hit
got
that
to a point.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what happens after this.
Well, I think he was referring to that fight because it was all like chronological or whatever. It was documented in that little book or whatever. But
Right.
he, like, Miss Minutes keeps saying that like this was his plan all along, which I mean, she could be an unreliable like source because she could just be lying about the whole damn thing. Part of me, like, this is a slight, like, one of my theories is that she's going to be like the villain for this entire series or something. Anyway,
that bitch is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
My note for the next episode is that bitch. Or where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Miss Minutes. That bitch is spiteful.
Right? Right?
She crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm going to a little bit. The face.
Oh yeah.
When an act was being done in episode 4, I was like, holy shit! Like revive.
Yeah. Yeah, that face.
So wait, do it.
She just.
Yeah, that face.
She's just a freaking kid on Christmas morning, excited, just standing there and just gazing. And it's the most appalling thing that's happened in.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Anyways. Well, even in this episode, she showed how crazy she was because, like, she got Victor all alone at the end of the episode and was like, "Why didn't you give me a body, Victor? Where's my body?" And I was like, "Oh, I got Twilight Zone references going on here right now." Like,
my note for this is just that clock is horny. The clock is way too horny. Like,
yes, she is.
Needs to simmer down now.
Got the vapors.
Yeah, got the vapors. That is so weird that they included that. Like, it's so bizarre that they included that. I was like, ooh, where are we going with this? I don't like this at all.
It's very sci-fi. Like I said, there was a Twilight episode all about that, where a guy built a machine and it fell in love with him, wanted him to get rid of his wife and everything else. And like, whole episode on Twilight Zone that's dedicated to it. Same kind of thing. So
there's Flubber. You can watch that too.
Ew. I don't like where this is going.
You've never seen the Flubber?
I've seen Flubber, but I don't think he wanted to fuck the Flubber.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No. The robot, his little robot was in love with him.
Yeah.
The little hovering robot everywhere.
oh, wow.
So it's some reusable jelly there.
Oh, God. All right.
Add some bounce to it.
This has gone way off the rails.
Comic-y Flubber.
No, I like the beginning where it's got the old-timey Marvel Studios intro, the old-timely, I guess I should say, instead of timey.
Timely, yes.
I thought that was really cool. Miss Minute says to Ravana when she's like, "Do you have it?" And she says like, "Yeah, I brought it," or whatever. She's like, "Oh, bless your heart."
Oh,
and I was like,
God.
That means something completely different in the South. Like,
right?
Like, that has a complete different meaning in the South.
She pulled out that TVA guidebook, and I was like, the fucking thing that we've not seen for a whole season is now in every single episode.
Yeah, it is. Also, Mobius mentions, like, he's like, when they get to Chicago World's Fair. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say, but anyway, he mentions about, like, he's like, "Oh, this is where Edison is and H.H. Holmes," and I'm like, don't mention H.H. Holmes. He's a serial killer. You should know that. You're over the TVA. I don't know why, like, Mobius was so excited about that, but anyway.
I know we got Balder the Brave statue in that World's Fair. That was awesome.
We have had so many references to Balder now, both in continuity and out of continuity. I'm at this point, I'm like, can we just see Balder at this point? I love that scene, though, where Loki's just angry, and he's like, this has to be a joke. And it's like, they even included Balder. No one even knows who he is. And then at the end, they're like, they leave or whatever, and Loki's like, Thor's not that tall.
Yeah. Before we get too far into the World's Fair, I do want to bring up that when Ravana went back originally to 1868, it said Sacred Timeline.
Yes.
And then when at the World's Fair,
Yes.
it said 1893 Branched Timeline.
Yes.
And I feel like when you start adding that into, and we'll talk about it in the episode 4, to me that kind of shows an inconsistency. But maybe y'all know something or see something that I don't.
So this is my theory. It seems like He Who Remains nabbed another version of himself as a child and put him on the Sacred Timeline. Or I don't know. See, like this is the part that just muddies everything. That I'm just because like if he did that, then that would become a branched timeline. Unless the Sacred Timeline. See, that's the other thing too that I've got theories on theories. One of the things,
multiversal theories.
One of the things that I think we're gonna learn is that like this whole Sacred Timeline, like that's never supposed to happen. The universe is supposed to be ever changing, and there is supposed to be like a multiverse, and that He Who Remains, Kang, whatever you want to fucking call him, brought order to chaos, but the universe is supposed to live in chaos. And I think that's what we're going to learn by the end of this series, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, back to your thing. Yeah, I too am confused because it seems like he would have placed like a little baby Kang there as a contingency plan for if he ever dies to create a new variant version of himself. And that's why it becomes a branched timeline, if that makes any sense. But the other thing that confuses me is just because I'm a comic reader and Victor Timely isn't a variant. He's just Kang who went back in time and assumed a different persona to like do some Kang bullshit.
Right.
He eventually creates like Chronopolis there and all that stuff. Anyway, like, so that's the other thing that's so confusing to me because I'm like, is that Nathaniel Richards or is it like, I don't know. It's making my head hurt, honestly, trying to figure this.
Oh, you just made some other people's head hurt by throwing that name out there. So, for those of you who don't know, the when you bullet patient 0 of Kang, okay, is Nathaniel Richards, Reed Richards, the father or grandfather? I think it's father.
No, Nathaniel. So Nathaniel Richard is a descendant of Reed Richards, but he has the same name of Reed Richards' father, Nathaniel, like Senior or whatever.
Got you. Okay, I was even mixed up a little bit.
Yeah,
and then I know there's also like possible ties. They've somewhat and sometimes in the comic books have made ties toward Doctor Doom as well. So it's a whole fucking
good lord.
Yeah, well, we read that in Avengers Forever, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they implied that like at some point the descendant of Doom and the descendant of Reed like boinked, I think is what Michael said in that episode.
Yes.
Seems like they were trying to get more back to like a sacred tree, like heritage tree.
That's great. Oh, all right. Please continue, Richard, because I've lost my notes.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to throw you off.
No, I threw you off, I think, but go ahead.
No, I just like that whole thing really confuses me, honestly. Jeremy mentioned it. I do like the twist though of Victor Timely being a con artist. Like the entire time, since Quantum Mania, we've been thinking that like Victor Timely is this like nefarious sort of character, but instead in at least his time, like 1893, he's just a con artist. I dig that twist a lot. I don't know if y'all call this the trousers, the mechanical trousers. Was that a Stiltman reference?
I was wondering that.
I was like, that has to be a Stiltman reference.
The way they looked and stuff like that, I was like, is that? And I didn't pay much more attention after that, but I was like, why do we keep referencing Stiltman and things? Like, is he coming? Is he not coming? Is that a thing? Like, are we getting him?
I think it's just because he's like one of Marvel's most ridiculous. He's not the most ridiculous villain, but he's one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like he literally just walks around on stilts.
Yes. Yeah. He has a mechanical suit that looks ridiculous and his legs will extend up like near skyscraper height.
He's a Daredevil villain.
Yeah.
Originally Daredevil villain. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a great, during Civil War, there's a great tie-in book where Punisher shoots a rocket launcher and blows up Stiltman's like bottom half. It's fucking hilarious.
If anybody needs an animated series that's like Harley Quinn, it is so The Punisher.
Yeah.
Like a Punisher animated series where he just goes fucking nuts would be great.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun. Again, like I'll talk about it more in the next episode, but it seems like this season they're just trying to make Sylvie so unlikable. It's more so in the next episode, but like she's just giving Loki the business in that like Ferris wheel, and it's like, bitch, we all gonna die if we don't get fucking He Remains to like fix the shit.
I know.
And then
that was like annoying with her.
Yeah. And then I think it's the next episode, but she's like, she says something about like, you caused all this problem. I'm like, no, you did. You killed He Who Remains. Like, I'm just like, did the writers even remember what happened last season?
I mean, that's kind of going back to like, well, me and Jeremy were talking about as far as not understanding why she's mad at him kind of thing. So,
yeah. Well, like I said, that episode, I was talking about, I understand why she's mad. Yeah. I don't understand this this is your fault. And it's like, bitch, no, it ain't. This is your fault.
I tried to stop you.
But yeah, I don't know. That bugged me.
Well, and what don't get me is that like she's constantly talking about, what about all these people on these branches and their free will and they're this and they're that. It's like, there won't be any other branches or free will if we don't do this.
I know. Yeah, exactly. And not to mention like once again, I'll get more into it. Fuck it. We're here. When she's giving Mobius in the next episode the business about the pie thing, I'm like, what are they supposed to do, Sylvie? They're literally working on the problem right now. Like, what are they supposed to do right now? Like, they can't lean over OB and Casey and Victor Timely and go, could you guys work a little bit faster?
You done yet?
Yeah.
Can I hand you a screwdriver?
It's so, I don't know. Like, I feel like they're just trying to make her unlikable for whatever reason. I don't know. That throughput multiplier that Kang shows in this episode, it looks a lot like someone posted like a picture online. It looks a lot like Kang's chronal chair. It's not when he opens it up, but it resembles that same shape. I thought that was interesting.
Oh, the spear thing.
Yes.
Oh. Got you. I was like, what? I missed something.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, the weird like cog thing that he puts in the fix for the temporal loom in the next episode.
Oh, hot damn.
Yeah, I know. I'm honestly just trying to hurry up and get to the next episode.
I was gonna
say,
I love the Ravonna Renslayer giving her speech about her being order, and then Sylvie kind of like comes in at that moment like a fucking wrecking ball. It's kind of visual storytelling, like showing that she's chaos, essentially, which is what I think is what we're gonna learn, is that like the multiverse needs to be chaotic. It's this constant, ever-growing thing that is supposed to happen, but I don't know.
Speaking of Ravonna, they started laying on the romance there here in this one, and Ole Miss Minutes wasn't having it.
No, she was not.
She wasn't about it at all.
No.
Of course, that would like that whole triangle was just cringy, and like just the whole way through. I mean, even with like Ravonna doing it and everything, like I was like, I was like, you need to quit that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all weird. Like the Ravonna thing, I'm fine with just because it's like in the comics. The clock thing is fucking bizarre.
Oh, were they together in the comics?
Yeah, Ravonna's the like love interest for Kang.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the clock, like Miss Minutes, that's so fucking bizarre.
Yeah, that's just weird.
Which is why, like, we could tell even before this episode that she followed Kang. Like, there was more to her obsession of Kang other than she's just a program. So I thought that she was like gonna be like, whatever, a copy. Because like in the comics, there's a character that's the wife of Ultron. Her name is Jocasta.
Yep.
And she's made by using the like brain scan of Wasp. I can't remember which one it is. It's either Hope or Janet. I think it's Janet, but I can't remember. And anyway, and then Ultron makes a robotic wife. So I thought maybe they were going to do something like that with Miss Minutes, and like Miss Minutes is like Ravonna Renslayer's like temporal aura like scanned and made into like a little weird cartoony clock or something, and that's why she has this sort of attraction to He Who Remains. none of that's true, probably. But like, it makes more sense than just like, hey, I made an AI, now it wants to fuck me. Like, it's just weird.
Want to fool around after some chess?
Exactly.
What is up with Marvel and like making robots with the brainwaves of other people? Because Vision, I believe, has the brainwaves of Wonder Man.
Oh, yeah.
That was part of his, origin and stuff like that. Then you've got when Vision goes and makes his wife, he uses the brainwaves of Wanda to sit there and make, not Viv,
Yeah.
but I can't remember what her name
I
is.
can't remember her name either.
So yeah, this whole let's use real people's brainwaves and robots. That's like a common thing for Marvel.
Yeah.
So weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
I liked seeing the prototype for the pruning one.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. It's very large, but it was still really cool. Like,
yeah, it was large and spiky. It had like
Right.
spikes on the end of it.
So that's all that I have for this episode. Do y'all have anything else y'all would like to add to this?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. On to Loki season 2, episode 4, Heart of the TVA. Ravonna finds out her memory was wiped. The loom is on the brink of destruction. Victor and Obi are our only chance, but will they be enough? Spaghetti, anyone? So, Jeremy, what is your whelming for this episode here?
Honestly, like I'm like probably pleasantly to overly on this one because it was just a very fast-paced and exciting episode, and it just an epic cliffhanger to it. Kept you on seat like the edge of your seat most of the time, and I knew even whenever like the ending of the third episode, I was like, Sylvie, you should have just killed her. You should have killed her. Like that was just
right. Yeah.
And then also there's gonna be a special place in hell for X5. Like
Yeah.
He's just a terrible person. I was like, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
Poor Brad.
Yeah. And the other thing was wanted to congratulate Richard for calling it on Loki, how Loki got pruned.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I feel like that was fairly obvious though.
There's all kinds of options. It's a multiverse out there. I'm just saying.
I know. But like that just seems so like writing 101 kind of thing. But so can we just skip all of it and talk about that scene for a second? I think you know what scene.
Well, you gotta give your whelming.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. Honestly, I'm. Do you know what? Fuck it. I'll say it. I'm overly whelmed. This is probably my favorite episode so far. Yeah, like the last 2 episodes, I was kind of middling. Like I was dwindling here. I was still pleasantly whelmed because I guess like the hype from like last season and like the continuation carried me through. But this episode put me back up, especially that ending, man. That like my jaw dropped at that ending. This is yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Richard, you stole all my words.
Oh, sorry.
You stole them all because I am right there with you. Overly whelmed, jaw dropping. I want to add fucking jaw dropping to this whelm meter here because that's literally what I did at the very end of the episode. I just went,
Yeah.
very literally, just mouth open, catching flies, like couldn't believe what I saw. So, and yeah, I'm overly whelmed. I'm past the cautious on this series right now. So Feige, please don't fuck it up in the next 2 episodes. That'd be great. Appreciate you very much, sir. Because now, like after this, we are so in such uncharted territory here. I don't know of any other kind of thing from the trailer that I'm looking out for or anything like that. We've closed the case on episode 1 with that whole like Loki going into the future. And so we don't even have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's and then
there is a few scenes from the trailer that we do know for a fact that it's going to happen.
Okay.
There's a couple of Loki time slipping, and he's in front of some kind of like jet ski like
I do remember the jet ski one.
thing.
Yes.
There's a shot of Sylvie in some kind of record store, and things are getting like spaghettified.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there's some like shot of the TVA and like the monitors getting spaghettified as well.
Okay. I don't
Which
remember.
I'm gonna assume all that shit happens next episode, and then the last episode we're completely in uncharted territory.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot about the record store one because I remember that now, and I remember the jet ski one. And I assume that has. That's so weird though, because he's time slipping again.
Yeah.
And like,
I've got theories when we get into theories, but yeah, it's gonna be weird regardless. It's gonna be very Doctor Who kind of timey-wimey bullshit. I got a feeling.
Well, let's talk. You were wanting to talk about the scene where Loki prunes himself. So,
no,
I'm sorry.
That scene, the cube.
Oh, the cube.
Oh, that
yes.
scene. Yes.
Yes. Ravonna comes in and gives everybody the ultimatum. Brad jumps ship, and then Miss Minutes activates the cube because, she's like in her, spooky days, like mindset right now. Like she's wanting to see some horror.
She's wanting some murder and mayhem. Like that scene.
Hell hath no fury than a woman burned, basically.
A clock scorned.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some kind of pun there. A clock scorned strikes twice a day. I don't know. Anyway, my notes are that is one fucked up animated clock. And then of course we talk about the smiling. You can hear squelch. Like they did such a good job for like it being Disney to still be horrific, but not show a damn, like not even a drop of blood. You hear squelching, bones cracking, and like a little bit of like blood dropping through the grate. And then when X5 goes in to like see the gore, you hear like a steam noise. Like there's just this pile of gore or something sitting on that grate. Yeah, that scene will live rent free in my head for me for a while. I was like, like the idea of just being crushed to death by like 15 other people is just like that is something straight out of like Saw or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just horrifying.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure that had you cringing the whole way through, Michael.
Luckily, I was like watching it super late, so I was super tired. And so like I was paying more attention trying to stay awake.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then like they didn't show because it really got to me on Brad's because like they would show his arms up against the thing and him squatting down and then I'm thinking about it. But yes, the being in a room with people and it closing in Willy Wonka style sounds fucking horrific and I never want to be a part of that chocolate factory.
No, yeah. Some nasty raspberry filling there.
What is it? Eric, the new Rockstars guys, Eric Voss, I think is his name.
Yes.
He mentioned something about like, is the pies that Mobius eats a reference to Soylent Green and it's made from people that are squished in those rooms? That was one of his theories that I was like, ugh.
And we just tied it back to Willy Wonka.
Yeah, exactly. I love how X5 has like PTSD from that thing. Because like Ravonna is talking with Victor Timely and she's like, X5 is going to find a very thorough and incredibly painful way to kill you. And he's like, it's a very small box.
Right?
That box lives rent free in his head. Anyway.
Well, I mean, he was in it.
Yes.
And then he saw it like fully work on somebody. Yeah. So like, yeah, I'm sure he is like, has trauma from it. Like, I would, So I want to go to something that's kind of bothering me with this episode. And I hope they figure this out. And it was something I mentioned earlier for episode 3. So Ouroboros learned everything from Victor Timely. Victor Timely learned everything from the book that Ouroboros wrote. Victor Timely, though, this Victor Timely is from a branched timeline that I guess we don't know necessarily when it was branched other than back in 1868. Maybe that's when it caused the branch. So has it been like, this is where it's getting all the fuckery for me.
So I forgot you mentioned that. So here's what I think. So one, it's called a bootstrap paradox. It's one of those like the paradox itself sort of created itself, if that makes any sense. It's also referred to as a grandfather paradox. And in this case, they mention in it, it's an Ouroboros. It's a snake swallowing its own tail.
Yes.
It completes a complete loop. So what I'm thinking is that for some reason, a Victor Timely on the sacred timeline always happens. Even though that, forget the branch timeline for a second. Victor Timely grows up in what I wrote down the year because I knew I wouldn't remember the year. In 1868, Chicago, Illinois. And at some point throughout his life, he has all these great inventions and writes it down on a notebook. OB maybe finds it, though I have theories of what OB could be as well. I have lots of theories. But OB finds that notebook and then writes, creates the TVA, possibly becoming the original He Who Remains. I think this is one of my theories. I think Kang maybe didn't create the TVA. We may learn that, and that he's just been lying all along, and that he just like usurped He Who Remains, OB, and just took the place of it or whatever. But anyway, but now it seems like by creating that branch timeline, also the way we've sort of demonstrated how time works with the TVA, maybe OB, like by putting that notebook in there in the past, it then instantly becomes OB learned that information from Victor Timely, but it is in fact his own. It's honestly, it's one of these that we're just going to have to never try to figure out. Otherwise, we'll just go cross-eyed. But what I'm getting at is like the moment they put that there, Obi then like his sort of how he learned that changed immediately because we kind of saw how that worked when Loki was time slipping in that first episode.
Right.
And then now that's how Obi learns it is, in fact, it's from himself. But because of Victor using the book and then adding more notes to it, he assumes that it's like the author originally of it.
So that maybe could also explain why we're just now like so heavy on this book this season.
Yeah.
Like because it's being written almost like during this season?
Well, because the book was then sent back during this season. And that's why nobody knew or had anything about it or whatever, is because it had not been sent back yet, but it hadn't.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean that does add up and could be a way. Like, I don't think the writers thought that far.
Jeremy's face.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. What do you mean?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just like...
I think we honestly at this point, I'm not even like after the Victor Timely introduction, it being a branch timeline, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done trying to figure it out. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride.
I was about to say, so for all those people listening that just kind of glossed over that whole last like 5-10 minutes there, welcome back. That's it.
That's great. Yeah, that's what my biggest question was. Like, there had to have been a Victor Timely in the sacred timeline at some point in time because we created a branch by giving him the book, which goes what you're saying, Richard.
Yeah, and then that's when it really fucks with me because I'm like, but Victor Timely is just Kang. So is Kang is the sacred timeline? There's never a Kang. It's just a Victor Timely, and then the Kang that we always get or whatever is going to just be a variant. Like, it's so confusing.
What if this is their out so that there's no Nathaniel Richards?
What do you mean by no Nathaniel Richards?
So the Kang that we know from the comic books is Nathaniel Richards.
Right.
What if this is their out of that? So that he'll never be a Nathaniel Richards. He'll never be a variant. He'll never like the patient zero for Kang.
Why would they want that to be out?
Yeah. I'm so confused.
Why would they want it to be out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then having to make ties to Reed Richards later on in the Fantastic Four, you don't have to worry about that and muddying up that if you just say that he was just Victor Timely.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Until we see that, I have no idea. Look, this whole thing that they did, I was like, what is happening? I really wanted it to just be a technically it is a variant, but I'm just saying, like, how the fuck does what I'm getting at is like that Kang is born in the 31st century. That's when he's born. Nathaniel Richards is his birth name. And then, like, there are variants, but, like, for the most part, in the comics, anytime you see Ramatut or Immortus or whatever, it's not a variant. It's still fucking Kang. It's just at another point in his life because he travels through time. So for him, when you see him, it may be the first time he's met you, or it may be the third time he's met you, or whatever. It's very much like how River Song and Matt Smith, they're like loving, like they were moving in two different directions all throughout time. But now that you throw this in, it just fucks everything up, and I don't think they fully thought this through. Anyway, I don't know.
Well, but also, like, when he's going back as Ramatut and stuff like that, like, that's all because the way they did time in the comic books, it gave them their own, like, Ramatut came off and did his own thing at certain points, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, it was the same person, but in a different point of time.
Yes.
And then going and doing their own thing, branching off, doing their own thing, and becoming then officially, I would say officially at that point in time when they branch off, becoming a variant.
Maybe. Not necessarily in the comics, because he when he gets foiled being Ramatut, he just, that pyramid is his time machine. He just fucks back off to the future.
Right.
And then he goes off and becomes something else later on.
But then, like, the Silver Centurion has been brought, or Scarlet Centurion has been brought into, like, present day time from the future to do things. Yeah, and so, like, that's what I'm saying is, like...
Well, I'm also referring to just the Council of Kangs. Like, those are definite variants of Kang because, you know, we see the one that's, like, blue and, like, lizard looking or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't even remember what we were even talking about, to be honest with you, because I'm trying to figure out this shit.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. I love the little squeal that Victor Timely gives when he meets Obi. I think that's really funny. He goes like, boo!
Right. I enjoyed most of Major's, like, take on Victor Timely. It was different, and the stuttering was a little annoying or whatever sometimes, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. And just the quirks and the whatevers that he did.
Yeah. The stuttering, like I said, was fine. This episode he was fine in. It was that first episode that they introduced him in, the third one, that I was just like, ugh, let's tone it down a bit. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, well, you're talking about his performance mainly, though, on stage when he's showing off the loom or the prototype for the loom.
Yeah, that and a little bit of the when he's doing, like, he's in the crowd and everyone's like bidding on his machine and stuff like that.
I got you. Doing his showmanship to sell things, to sell his
I guess
hustle people. Yeah,
I guess that's what it was, but it just came off way too, I don't know. I didn't quite enjoy it is all. There is something there's something to be said because they make a statement that Victor Timely does not do partners.
Yes.
He doesn't like doing partners. But he shakes the hand of OB. Yeah. And then they immediately cut to Sylvie giving them like a sinister look. There's something there that I don't know. I don't know because this supposedly got re-edited due to removing some of the scenes with Jonathan Majors due to all the like allegations and stuff like that. So I don't know if like they just left that in there and they were going to do something else, but like, because what happens with Victor Timely at the end of this episode? I also have a theory for that as well, but I just thought it was very interesting that like is Obi going to be a Kang variant? Because the only person that Kang will work with is himself.
Well, I mean, he was working with Miss Minutes there. He worked with Miss Minutes to drop off Ravonna after she said something about a partnership.
Yeah. But I think that's due to it being like a clock or whatever, a fucking animated clock. I think like if it were like a real person, maybe. But I don't know. It just they specifically like they shake hands and then it cuts to Sylvie being like, I don't know about this.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
It's very interesting. I something's telling there, but I don't know. We'll see when we get there. I like the Mobius line of when they're talking about the stuff they need to do, and Mobius is like, well, looks like Loki's gonna have to hoof it. I thought that shit was funny.
Speaking of hoofing it, I'm just letting y'all know right here, right now, freaking Victor Timely did more hoofing than Mobius did his entire stint going out there in that small little section that he ran, by the way.
Yeah.
So
it's all that pie. It's weighing him down.
I guess. I guess.
Why does B-15 even need docks in her Minutemen? Because every time you look out the window, there's like an ever sprawling like TVA. So I assume there's like trillions of Minutemen out there.
Oh, they're punks.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, that explains it.
They're not part of Minutemen. Those are just like whatever. Those are pawns.
Millisecond men.
Seconds. Yes. Like
that's funny.
The Minutemen are like, the real, like these are the people you call in when it's like, oh shit time. Like you call in the Minutemen.
Not really the last thing, but I may skip all the rest of this. I love that scene of the, hope is hard conversation with Sylvie and Loki, especially the part where she's like, no matter what we do, we're just playing God.
Yeah.
And then Loki replies like, we are gods.
That line was so funny because like literally whenever Sylvie said that, my wife goes, we are gods, Sylvie, before
yeah, I did too.
Loki said that.
That's so funny. I did too as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Well, I think it was to remind, everybody that's, you know what I mean? Because I feel like this TV show has brought Loki down to earth, like majorly.
Oh yeah,
humanized him.
Yes, in abundance.
I love the Miss Minutes does a Nedry from Jurassic Park moment. You didn't say the magic word.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Turns out Obi was on the phone. We thought it was, I don't know, somebody.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be way more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I
love that though.
Yeah, I did too. It was like a bait and switch.
Right? All the drama on that phone call. And it was just like, hey, where y'all guys at?
I also love the
not like a Matrix move.
Yeah. I also love the if we do this and we turn it off, then people, the magic dampeners will be shut off and people can use magic. And then Sylvie and Loki are like, turn it off.
Right? But what is that going to do in other Marvel movies?
I don't know.
What's the implications of that? You know what I mean?
I think he's okay. So
or is it magic in the TVA? Because I know
it's just magic in the TVA.
Okay, that makes more sense then.
So that's why I think Loki's going to be able to time slip, is that it's like some sort of magic power now. And since that's off right before that wave of fire hits him, or wave of whatever destroying thing, I think he's going to time slip and figure out a way to stop the loom from exploding. And that's what we're going to get for next week's episode.
Okay. With the whole spaghettification of the record, and then seeing the Skidoo, or seeing Mobius before he was what he is now.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I think Loki is going to try and stop it, and maybe he can't in next week's episode, is why we see the TVA getting spaghettified, why there's that record. Because Sylvie's in the room with them in the whatever the blast door room. She's not at some record place. I don't know why she's there. It also could just be a deleted scene that they just included, but I definitely think Loki's going to time slip somehow to stop the loom from blowing up.
Yeah. I will ask, what do we think is going to happen to is that the last of Ravonna? Are we done with her?
No,
that she got pruned?
Yeah, that was another thing we saw in one of the trailers. I forget where, but Ravonna is meeting Eliath in one of the trailers.
Ooh, I didn't see that. I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, her and that other Minuteman who got pruned while drinking the hot chocolate.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna fight because he's not unless Ravonna turns him somehow. But yeah, they're gonna be in the void or whatever it's called.
Okay, cool beans.
Yeah, the thing when Miss Minutes uses her last power to basically tell Victor Timely, you'll never be him. That's where I wrote, that bitch is spiteful.
Right? All because she couldn't get a body from him.
Yeah.
I just love the her glitching, and then he thinks she's making fun of his stutter. I thought that was a funny joke.
Oh yeah.
All right. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So we've all been hyped that, Kang was supposed to be the Thanos of this saga, essentially. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we even so much so that we're getting the big Avengers movie that's going to be coming out before Secret Wars
The
is
Marvels.
Kang Dynasty. What? What?
Who?
My question is, we hear so much more though of He Who Remains. Is that dampening? Is that diluting the importance and the hype for Kang?
No. But I do think we need to start seeing more of Kang outside of Loki in order to hype him up. Because the thing that was nice, at least with Thanos, is we got to see him in more movies as a stinger or something like that.
Yeah,
we've only really seen Kang in one stinger. Am I correct on that, or two?
I mean, the only stinger we've seen of any kind of Kang or variants is Ant-Man and Quantumania.
Yeah, that's the one I'm referring to.
And then we got the Victor Timely.
Yeah.
But those were both Quantumania ones.
Yeah.
And neither one of those were actually like Kang the Conqueror. They were, Mortis and Centurions. I mean, variants, but, not Kang the Conqueror. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They absolutely should have had something they had the perfect thing to use Kang in Moon Knight with freaking Ramatut. I don't understand why they didn't do that. Definite, not definite, like it's ruining whatever the brand of Kang. But I think I like this, but I think we need more of him. We need him to be a threat. And right now, the only person selling the threat is really just Tom Hiddleston's acting. Like that scene in episode 3 when Mobius is like, I thought you said he's scary. And he's like, he is. And you can almost see Tom Hiddleston's almost about to cry. Like you see his eyes kind of well up. He's such a good actor. But anyway, nothing else is selling it for me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say they definitely need to do something to just really emphasize how big and bad he can actually be.
Yeah.
He hasn't really had that much of an effect yet. The only reason why I know about him, obviously, is just because of what we've read and talked about and things like that. But for the normal moviegoer, and watching this, I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying from Tom Hiddleston, talking about it. It can be bad, maybe, but so far it hasn't shown just how bad he is.
Yeah. Yeah. I really wanted to hear your side of it, Jeremy, only for the fact that for Richard, I know he's read the stuff. And so knowing you know what I mean? Knowing that background and stuff like that was kind of, it's etched in his mind.
Yeah.
But for you or whatever, I really wanted to hear your side of it because yes, you've read some Kang stuff, but they focus, it seems like they focus so much to me anyways on He Who Reigns. I was like, does that really mess with, folks?
They haven't, you haven't really got, like I said, to a typical moviegoer, you haven't really gotten what he's capable of.
Yeah.
And even from what we've read, I mean, I can just, from watching Doctor Who, from other things that we've talked about in all the comic books and seeing the different Marvel movies, I can piece together, and if anybody really thinks about it, if somebody can manipulate time or it has some kind of effect of jumping around in time, that can obviously have just drastic changes there, but there hasn't been anything to instill that oh crap kind of moment of this is coming. And even with Thanos, that was before we got all this. For me, just seeing him there, the way they first even portrayed him, or at least the way I remember him, and just in that stinger of being in the throne, you got the oh, this is a guy not to mess with kind of feel.
Yeah.
And you just haven't gotten anything like that from Kang yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think what we saw the first time we saw Thanos was him looking back.
Yeah.
You just kind of see a side profile in the dark or whatever, but then the next stinger you see him, he's like, fine, I'll do it myself. And he sticks his hand in an Infinity Gauntlet.
We see.
Well, he was in Guardians.
So we see him in Avengers 1 where he says to challenge them is to court death. And then he turns and smiles at the camera because everyone thought at the time they thought they were going to do the whole he's in love with death thing, but
Yeah.
they didn't do that. But and then we see him in Guardians, and he's in the floaty chair, and he says "Do not test me, boy," or something. He's talking to
That's
Ronan.
right, talking to Ronan.
Yeah,
that's right.
And he's like, "Or I'll bathe the starways in your blood," or something like that.
Yeah. But and then I believe it was the gauntlet after that.
Yeah.
But we did get a nice little buildup of Thanos there that I don't feel like we're getting with any kind of villains. And I really think with the High Evolutionary, we could have had that the whole time of building up to him in Guardians 3. So that would have been really cool, in my opinion, anyways.
Yeah. Because even with the Ant-Man stinger of showing all the thousands of Kang in there, what'd you call it? The
Council of Kings.
There you go, Council of Kings.
Oh.
Seeing all that, you kind of got some type of what's going on here or what's a heel about, but not. It wasn't necessarily that whole, like I said, that just instilling fear in you type moment.
Yeah, well, even that stinger was you feel like they're up to something, but not necessarily to damage the Avengers or Earth. But it seems like they were just going against that one Kang variant, because they were talking about how the what was it, the exiled one is no longer, or whatever he says. I forget what it is, but so it seems like they were just warring with that Kang or He Who Remains. I don't know, but it didn't seem like they were oh, these guys are bad news. It just seemed like, okay, Jonathan Majors is doing a lot of method acting in these different roles. Yeah, they definitely need to make him a threat.
Yeah.
What about us not really having an Avengers team? Do y'all think that has an impact as well? Just us not being attached to a group of heroes?
That is definitely hurting them right now. Absolutely, I agree with that. They need some sort of team. They need some movie coming out where they fight, I don't know, Ultron again. And I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. You could figure out another villain, but and that is the new, this is your new team. And anyway, it seems very rudderless right now. I'm hoping maybe the Marvels will have something. I knew I was waiting on it. Maybe the Marvels will have something that'll give us some sort of direction we're headed.
Only 2 weeks away.
Yay.
That's great.
I know. I don't know. After the only reason I'm not hyped now, I think, is due to Secret Invasion, and because it's got Sam Jackson in it, and it seems like it's directly tying to that god awful series. So I'm just all hype I had for Brie Larson looks like she's more fun in this, and it's got Amon Villani, and anything has just sort of just petered out, just sputtered out.
That's what I was going to say. The only hype that I really have for the Marvels is the fact that Amon Villani is such a delight just to watch her just, playful excitement, being excited about, being in the a Marvel comic book movie or TV show.
Yeah.
That stuff just, I don't know. I just love watching her perform just because how hyped she is about it. So
honestly, I just want her from the comic, her comic book run where she's meeting all of the who's who of Marvel. I want the X-Men to hurry up and come up and she meets Wolverine. That's a fun one. Anyway, yeah.
All right, we've put this off long enough. Let's talk about spaghettification.
Yeah.
Because we see it firsthand in this episode.
Yep.
And that's really what just made my fucking jaw drop. Is just because like I said, freaking Victor Timely gets on that soup, he lifts up this heavy thing and the doors open up and he starts hoofing it out the doors and it's instantaneous. It's wah! And he's just separated. And it was horrific.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they show muscle tissue, bones. You see a little bit of his jawbone when he's screaming. You're like, fucking hell.
Right? Did y'all see that coming?
No.
Did y'all
No.
think?
No, absolutely not. No, I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. And then, of course, the ending, I was just like, wow. I was like, this feels like a season finale, and we still got 2 episodes.
Right? Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing. Season finale, like,
Yeah, I mean, because whenever it ended, like my wife and I were sitting there and like we were just like that can't be. I was like, she was just like that can't be it. Like what we're ending the episode there. I was like, well, okay, that's crazy. But on the upside here is we have 2 more episodes, so there's got to be something else coming here. But yeah, that was an insane cliffhanger.
what made it even better was like everything went to black and just lingered in black.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting something, just some kind of life of something, and then it was like, no, fuck you. Here's credits.
Yeah. They did what a lot of fans wanted that to be the end of Infinity War. Like a lot of fans wanted where Thanos snaps and he just goes to black and he just lingers there and then credits. And then like the movie ends that way and then the next one picks up with the aftermath of it. And we didn't get that, but a lot of fans wanted it to be that way. So this feels very much them doing something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was, oh man, that's what took me over. That's what made this whole, I mean, of course, like the pacing, I was awesome. I thought everything was great. The lead up, the build up to it and all that jazz, but then just the ending of it, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this is probably Marvel's most gruesome, like anything that they've done to date.
Right.
And like, it really wasn't that like gruesome, really, to be honest with you. Like, it's not that gory or anything.
Right. Yeah.
But I just was like, this one had a lot of, I don't know. It really like, this episode will live rent free in my head for a while.
Moon Knight should have taken some pointers from it.
Yeah, something.
Oh, that's all that I have for this episode. Do y'all have anything else y'all would like to share, throw out there?
Yeah, I have some theories just real quick. I'll just throw them out there. OB, I said he could be the original He Who Remains. I had another thought the other day, but that kind of gets thrown out, and I may give this to someone else. I thought maybe he's the Beyonder. I thought that could be a cool, interesting thing. Maybe he's the Beyonder, and we don't know that yet. But anyway, Victor Timely, when he gets spaghettified, I was like, maybe he's the Beyonder, because we have heard rumors of possibly in Secret Wars is that a variant of Kang is the Beyonder. Yep. And somehow being spaghettified, at the beginning of time or end of time or whatever the fuck that is, like right in front of that loom, gives him some sort of cosmic abilities to become the Beyonder. My other thought, because I've read Secret, Wars or whatever, like the Jonathan Hickman one, Molecule Man is a big proponent in like the creating of Battle World and everything. He gets scattered into molecules, essentially. Maybe Victor Timely ends up becoming Molecule Man or something like that.
Okay.
And then the other thing I kind of mentioned is I had this thought 2 episodes ago, which I was kind of mad because I really wanted to talk about it like during the Halloween episode. But I came to this realization that I think what we're going to learn by the end of the series is that the multiverse was always meant to happen. And what He Who Remains, Kang, whatever you want to call him, what he did is not what's supposed to naturally happen.
Yeah.
And that it's really supposed to be this ever sprawling, ever expanding multiverse. And yeah, those are my theories in a spitball way.
Yeah, I mean, it would go along lines with somebody being, Kang the Conqueror, to conquer time, to control time, to say what lives, what dies, things like that, and to have a machine that's constantly getting fed threads to weave a rope.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that kind of makes, sense. I mean, he would, have to have had a machine, because before him, there wouldn't have been a machine.
Yeah.
It would have just been natural. Whatever happens.
Yeah. The incursions is what I'm assuming is what we're going to see. Is that's what naturally happens to prune timelines, is just 2 times hitting each other or something like that.
And that's what you think, that's what nature does in
yeah,
like time or whatever. Nature does that naturally.
Yeah.
To prune itself, to cut itself back or whatever.
Exactly. It's just incursions happen.
Huh.
I think that's what we're going to learn.
Okay.
Yeah, and like you said, that's Kang's whole ish of like, I'm the conqueror of time. Like we've seen that in Quantum Mania, but we haven't seen that with like the Loki stuff. Is like,
right.
He's very much like, fuck you. I have conquered time. Like, I can do whatever I want.
That's great. Jeremy, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, no, that's really about all I had right now.
Cool. All right, then. Well, if that's it, Jeremy, where can they find you at?
They can find me on Twitch under the handle Night Fury GTO. That's Night with a K. And you can find me here.
You playing that Spider-Man?
Nope. I'm working through Miles Morales right now.
Okay, good.
Before I move on to the second one.
All right. I won't give you the shame bell then. I think you should, because some of that stuff probably gets spoiled. But anyway, from playing Spider-Man 2, the third
like
game.
The Miles Morales spoils what happens in.
No, it couldn't do that. What I'm saying is playing Spider-Man 2 would spoil what happens in Miles Morales.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of why I want to play the Miles Morales first, just to make sure I have everything kind of set up.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying, per my save data, it says I'm like 20% in, but like, I'm kind of liking Miles better. Like, not the character, I mean, like the game better. Like, they add this new parrying ability that you do in this game, and I don't know why, but I just fucking hate it. You have to use it when fighting the brutes, and I don't really like it. But anyway,
and I'll say, like, the one thing, like, I'm just starting into the Miles Morales, so I'm still in kind of some of the tutorial stuff, but like, I can already tell the difference of, Spider-Man being for the PlayStation 4 and Miles Morales be for PlayStation 5 and the new controller and all that. So it was kind of it throwing me off there first, and it's kind of cool.
They do a lot in this one with the like mini games. There's so many goddamn mini games in this game where they use like the new triggers and then like having to move the controller to do certain things. And I was like, you can turn all that off if you don't want to. I left it on just to try it, but I think I'm gonna turn it off because I'm like, all right, this has run its course. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cool. Well, when y'all get on the same page, maybe we need to have a review of it.
I know.
Yeah.
Richard, where can they find you at in the meantime?
Sorry. If you want to contact me directly, I have an X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, an Instagram, and a Threads. My handle is Night Curry, night like day and night, and Curry with a K. If you want to contact us directly, we have a Gmail. Our Gmail is comicallycomicspodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to check us out on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, you can check us out under the name Comically Comics Podcast. And if you want to check us out on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, you can check us out under the name Comically Comics with an X, and I can't find it.
You can find me on Instagram and eBay at 22_comics. You can also find me on YouTube at 22comics. Thank y'all so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did making it. With all that being said, say goodbye, Jeremy.
Bye, Jeremy.
Bye, Jeremy. Bye.
You didn't say the magic word.
Please! God damn it! I hate this hacker crap. Phone address.